Yeah, let's play it together.
Okay, location, yeah, sounds pretty.
Good morning. My name is Deirdre Gordon, a member of the Board of Trustees. Welcome to all of you here and to all of you who are joining us online. We're so glad to have you with us this morning. A special welcome to visitors. Please join us for coffee and conversation across the hall after the service. There is so much going on at MLUC. Be sure to check the back of your order of service and the MLUC.org website for updates about upcoming events. This community is one of hope and caring, where every person matters. We aspire to live our values every day, keeping love at the center of everything we do. This is such a challenging time in the world, and now more than ever, MLUC offers a safe and nurturing place. You are welcome here. Everyone is welcome here. Our worship team today includes Nick Sanchez. Nick is a candidate for ministry with the UUA, a chaplain at Albert Einstein Medical Center in Philadelphia, and just finished his ministerial internship at Wellsprings Congregation in Chester Springs. He serves our larger faith as a member of the nominating committee at the Church of the Larger Fellowship, and he recently represented UU seminarians at the initial Widening the Path to Ministry event at the UUA. Nick graduated in June from Iliff School of Theology with his Master's of Divinity degree. His studies and ministry have had a strong focus on liberatory justice, interfaith work, spirituality, and mysticism. Nick is a husband, father, and lifelong learner who loves spending time with his family, exploring the woods, reading, fixing almost anything, drumming, baking, woodworking, and sharing good conversation. Music today is provided by our music director, David Brown, on violin, and by Jodie Brown on piano. Dawn Star Saras Borchelt, our director of learning and family ministries, will provide our story for all ages. Paul Costa is our worship associate. And now, please silence your electronic devices and join me in affirming our mission. Together, we transform lives through love, service, and our welcoming faith.
For those of you who may be concerned that perhaps I have shrunk, fear not. This is not a violin, but a viola, which is the larger, deeper cousin of the violin. It has a warmer, mellower tone. We're going to be playing throughout the service Telemann's Concerto in G, which is a very famous and I think very progressive piece for the time in the early 18th century. Now, violists will tell you that there is no size difference between the instruments. It's just that violinists' heads are so big that the violin looks smaller. So my big violinist head thought to tell you that we started learning this piece last night at 10 p.m.
Our chalice lighting words this morning are by Stephen Spender. Let the chalice be lit in recognition of the great family here on earth with us, those who have gone before and left to us the heritage of their life, labor, and sacrifice, and those whose lives will be shaped by what we do or leave undone.
We invite you now to rise in body or spirit as we sing hymn number 66, When the Summer Sun is Shining.
Today's Time for All Ages is a game. And it's a game about saying yes. But not just yes. This is a game about saying yes and. And I need helpers. So the way the game works is I will give you a prompt. Like, for example, it's raining tacos. And then one of my helpers, I need at least two, will say something like, yes, and I love guacamole, so I'm going to run out and see if I can find some. And somebody else, one of my other helpers might say, yes, and I love tomatoes, so can you get me some if you see any? So the goal is to be as silly as possible while still making sense. A little bit of sense. You don't have to make a lot of sense, but and you can take it in a different direction. Like if I said it's raining tacos, you could say, yes, and it's from the alien spaceships, and then you could go off on an adventure looking for aliens. You don't have to stick with the original thing or the original thing that your partner in crime or the game said. But I do need helpers. So, and it doesn't have to be kids, although it could be kids. Who would like to play this game with me? It's not going to be tacos. It's going to be a different prompt. My kid is sacrificing herself. All right, Gary's going to come up too. Okay. 3's good. Yeah. Okay. So when it's your turn to say something, I'm going to hand you the red mic and you're going to point it like this so that everybody can hear what you say, because it's not going to be a very fun game if nobody can tell what you're saying. Okay. Go that way first. Okay. Okay. So I'm not playing, so you're going to say this. I'm giving you the prompt to say, and then Gary's going to go, and then Jimmy. Okay, so you're going to say, I've always wanted a fluffy pink unicorn. A fluffy pink unicorn.
Ooh, I've always wanted a fluffy pink unicorn.
Yes, but the fluff gets out of the...
Yes, and?
Yes, and the fluff gets out of the unicorn, and then I start sneezing like crazy.
Yes, and I prefer the ones from the, ocean because they have less fluff.
Yes, and I prefer a sprinkler rather than the ocean.
But the ocean has...
And?
Yes, and the ocean has so many unicorns that even the ones from the sprinkler can't keep up with it. There's not enough for all the children in all the world.
Yes, and I think not all the children in the world need a unicorn.
Yes, and I have a different suggestion. How about zebras?
Zebras, yes, and zebras are fine, but without any fluff. Where's the fun?
Yeah, and I think that's why we went with ocean unicorns.
Maybe one more round, okay.
Oh, that's a hard one to follow.
It's easier if you ask questions, but like...
Yes, and would you rather have a unicorn or a zebra?
Yes, and I would like to have a zebra with a horn on its head.
With a what on its head?
A horn.
Oh, a horn. A zebra with okay.
Yeah, so what if I want a horse?
There was no and in that. Try again.
What?
Yes, and thank you all very much. And it's time for the children and youth to meet me in the atrium and get distributed to their classes.
The recipient of MLUC's July and August offering outreach is Family Promise of the Main Line. Their mission is to help families experiencing homelessness and low-income families achieve sustainable independence through a community-based response. This morning, we have a short video to help us all learn about the good works of Family Promise.
On any given day, more than 550 people in Montgomery County are experiencing homelessness. Nearly 60,000 people in Montgomery County do not have enough nutritious food to eat. More than 8,600 families and 12,876 children have income below the federal poverty line. Here at Family Promise Montco, PA, we're doing something about that. Our food pantry, located on the campus of Salem Baptist Church in Roslyn, supports hundreds of individuals each month And as a part of the Healthy Pantry Initiative, we are always looking for more ways to connect families and individuals to fresh produce, healthy recipes, and a variety of food options. Our emergency shelter, known as the Interfaith Hospitality Network, is possible with the support of 24 congregations that offer temporary, safe housing for families experiencing homelessness in their house of worship or by providing volunteer support throughout the month. Hope Gardens in Ambler provides secure housing for families for up to 2 years while they gain and improve stability and life skills as they move towards self-sufficiency. Hope Gardens holds individual units for 8 families. While living in Hope Gardens, families pay a subsidized rent, utilities, and work towards their long-term housing plans. Additional supportive housing elements, Hope Forest in Ambler and Hope on 5th in Lansdale, each offer 2 individual living units, which support families that need lighter case management. Units in these properties are a step closer to market rate, which helps support families as they bridge the gap between homelessness and independence. During their time in our program, families are also able to build community, save money, develop a budget, and are offered case management support and other supportive services, including educational classes. There are also opportunities to allow interested clients to increase their employment options through programs like Grow with Google or resume revision workshops. Additional programming that we currently provide or have in the past include a rental assistance program and an aftercare program, which support families that have graduated from one of our housing programs. All of our programs are able to thrive and grow through the support of our caring board of directors, our hardworking staff, our committed volunteers, and our wonderful donors. With their support, we are so proud to say that Family Promise Montco, PA partners with the community to address hunger and homelessness, one family at a time.
If you would like to make a donation online, follow the instructions that you see on the screen behind me. If you are in the sanctuary, you can also scan the QR code that is on the order of service to make a cashless donation. The offering will now be gratefully received. Candles of Community is MLUC's ritual of personal sharing and support in a trusted and safe environment. After each candle is lit, please join me in saying, "We hold you in our hearts." We light a candle of sorrow for the victims of the deadly flash floods in the Texas Hill Country. The loss of homes, property, and most of all, human lives is heartbreaking. Alongside our grief, we are grateful to the first responders and local community members who have rushed in to protect and save lives. For the helpers, for a community literally torn apart, and for the families and loved ones of those lost, we hold you in our hearts. And for all of those joys and concerns that are being held, some too deep for words, we light a candle and we hold you in our hearts.
I have a reading for you today from Howard Zinn called Hopefulness in Bad Times. To be hopeful in bad times is not just foolishly romantic. It is based on the fact that human history is a history not only of cruelty, but also of compassion, of sacrifice, of courage, and of kindness. What we choose to emphasize in this complex history will determine our lives. If we see only the worst, it destroys our capacity to do something. If we remember those times and places, and there are so many, where people have behaved magnificently, this gives us the energy to act and at least the possibility of sending the spinning top of a world in a different direction. And if we do act, in however small a way, we don't have to wait for some grand utopian future. The future is an infinite succession of presents, and to live now as we think human beings should live, in defiance of all that is bad around us, is itself a marvelous victory. Thank you for that. Good morning. Ooh, I love that feeling. Behind a pulpit and you see a crowd of people before you, you say good morning, and you get a good morning. My name is Nick Sanchez. My pronouns are he, him, and L. I am filled with absolute joy to be back here today at Line Unitarian. Thank you so much for welcoming me. Today, I come to share a message that I think we need a little bit in this year, in this time that we live in. It's a message of hope and inspiration and a chance to explore the importance of moving forward when we feel stuck, when we need to find a way of embracing the motivation to embrace a life of purpose. What does it look like for us to fully embrace our own life? How do we do that when we feel a pull to go or grow in a new direction, but we feel stuck, we feel scared, or we just feel overwhelmed by the news around us? A dozen years ago, I was not doing so great. In fact, I would say that I was at the worst I had ever been. And as a guy who recently spent 3 weeks in the ICU, I think that's saying something. I was beaten down. I was exhausted. I was empty after years of hardship. I suffered a debilitating spinal cord injury. I lost my business. I had my truck stolen. I was reeling from the loss of loved ones who had recently passed. And I looked around me and I just saw a world on fire. I felt broken and I felt helpless. I felt stuck and I was ready to just throw my arms up, sit back, and watch the world go by. And I wasn't just content at that time to watch the world go, but I was paralyzed by fear to do anything about it. What if I suffered loss again? What if I failed again? What if I made the wrong decisions, or if I committed to something that I later regretted? What if I somehow made things even worse? What if I wasted my time? And that was a tough thought. To waste my precious time here on this earth, what could be worse than that? But I was already wasting my time. I was not living my authentic life. I was letting life happen at me. Life was being filled by the things that just happened around me rather than the things that I wanted. I was a passenger in my own car. I was a sidekick in my own story. For the younger ones here, I was an NPC in my own game. It's non-player character. I am missing a page, excuse me. Well, when you're preparing for ministry, they tell you to be ready for anything. So, I'm living in this attic apartment in a not so great area of the city of Philadelphia. In fact, the day that I had moved into this apartment, it was a 4th floor walk-up attic, someone was shot right in front of my building. It was not a great sign of the things that were to come. I had returned to this apartment one night after working a double shift at the only job I could find, washing dishes. I came back, I was covered in dirty dishwater, taco remnants, salsa. I smelled of beer, but I didn't have the chance to enjoy any. It was about midnight and I came home. And all I wanted to do was crash in the mattress on the corner of the floor. But I had recently lost people who were important to me. I lost a young nephew, and I had a daily ritual of lighting a candle in his honor. And I was not going to go to bed before I lit that candle and honored my nephew. So I went over to the small altar that I had set up in the apartment, and in keeping with the day and the times, the candle would not light. The wick was buried in the wax. So we went over to the small, we'll call it a kitchen and be generous, in the corner of the apartment with the refrigerator and the hot plate. And in keeping In the theme of this apartment, there was a window in that kitchen area that would not quite shut all the way. So as I'm looking for a knife to dig the wick out of this candle, I hear something outside of my window. It's not something you usually hear in that section of Philadelphia, so it struck me. It was the sound of Frank Sinatra's voice. And I remember him asking me directly through the song. He said, "What are you doing with the rest of your life?" That hit me so hard. I had never heard that song before, that particular Sinatra song. In fact, I had to go look it up later to make sure that I wasn't hearing things. But it was Frank Sinatra, clear as day, asking me through my kitchen window, "What are you doing with the rest of your life?" I thought about that all night. I realized I wasn't doing anything with my life. It felt like I was doing things. I was working. I was moving into an apartment. I was trying. But I was just getting by. What am I doing with the rest of my life? Those words haunted me all night. And I realized I was not truly embracing my own life. So the next morning I woke up. Well, I didn't really wake up. I was up all night. I got out of bed. I got my phone. I ended up reaching out to someone I never thought would get back to me. It was someone I had a crush on since high school. I hadn't seen them in years, and by some minor miracle, she responded. And now, 13 years later, we're married and raising our 2-year-old Willow together, who I really hope to bring today, but she's 2 years old on a Sunday morning on a 4th of July weekend. It's a little difficult. You know, our faith proclaims the inherent worth and dignity of all people, and for a long time, I had forgot to include myself in all people. I had forgotten the worth and the dignity of my own life. I spent the next few years embracing a life of purpose. I started down this road, this path that brought me to ministry here before you today. And when I started that path, when I took those first steps into professional ministry, that long, complicated road of UU ordination that some of you may be familiar with, I had a lot of friends reach out and ask me, why? Why are you going into ministry? Why UU? Why right now? And I've given many long, complicated answers, but at the core of any answer I give is my belief that the spirit of any congregation is to come together in community to try and be better. I think that's a sentiment that we can all appreciate that the world needs right now, perhaps more than ever, trying to be better. Not better than someone else or something else, but just better. Being better means turning against those primal human instincts of fear and anger, and instead saying yes to courage and to love, of turning against the socialized instincts of staying quiet, of going with the flow, and instead saying yes to living your convictions, of embracing your authentic life. Because back then, I was living in a world of maybe. When we are too comfortable or too afraid to say yes or to say no, we live in this limbo of maybe. It's a world of non-commitment and indecision and vacillation, and it presents us with the illusion of ease. How many of us have ever received an invitation, maybe an evite, and rather than commit to saying yes or no, just responded with that dreaded maybe? It's hard to plan a party for 100 maybes. But now take yourself back, way back to elementary school. You're sitting at a desk in grade school and you get a folded note passed to you and it says something like, "Do you like me?" Circle, yes, no, maybe. You could probably guess what got circled the most. Or perhaps you're the one sending the note and getting that dreaded non-committal response back. If you remember that feeling of getting maybe as your answer, you will remember and recall that living in a world of maybe is difficult, it is often disappointing, and it is rarely ever life enriching. In the spirit of committing to saying yes, I want to share something with you today. It is my absolute favorite poem. It is a work by Andrea Gibson, a nationally renowned poet from Denver, Colorado. And I cannot recommend enough that you check out their work after the service. It's a little longer than something I would usually share on a Sunday morning, but I wanted to share something that I love with all of you. It is appropriately titled, Say Yes. And I will try to attempt to read it with the kind of conviction and passion that Andrea would. When two violins are placed in a room, if a chord on one violin is struck, the other violin will sound its note. If this is your definition of hope, this is for you. The ones who know how powerful we are, who know we can sound the music in the people around us simply by playing our strings, for the ones who sing life into broken wings, open their chests and offer their breath as wind on a still day when nothing seems to be moving, spare those intent on proving God is dead. For you, when your fingers are red from clutching your heart so it will beat faster, for the time you mastered the art of giving yourself for the sake of someone else, for the ones who have felt what it is to crush the lies and lift the truth up to the sky, so high the steeples bow, this is for you. This is also for people who wake early to watch flowers bloom, who notice the moon at noon on a day when the world has slapped them in the face with its lack of light, for mothers who feed their children first and thirst for nothing when they're full. This is for women, and for the men who taught me only women bleed with the moon, but there are men who cry when women bleed, men who bleed from women's wounds, and this is for that moon, on the night she seems hung by a noose, for the people who cut her loose, and for the people still waiting for the rope to burn, about to learn they have scissors in their hands. This is for the man who showed me the hardest thing about having nothing is having nothing to give, who said the only reason to live is to give ourselves away. So this is for the day we'll quit our jobs and work for something real. We'll feel for sunshine in the shadows and look for sun rays in the shade. This is for the people who rattle the cage that slave wage built, and for the ones who didn't know the filth until tonight, but right now are beginning songs that sound something like people turning their porch lights on and calling the homeless back home. This is for all the stuff we own, and for the day we'll learn how much we have when we learn to give that stuff away. This is for doubt becoming faith, for falling from grace and climbing back up, for trading our silver platters for something that matters, like the gold that shines from our hands when we hold each other. This is for the grandmother who walked 1,000 miles on broken glass to find a single patch of grass to plant a family tree where the fruit would grow to laugh. For the ones who know the math of war has always been subtraction, so they live like an act of addition. For you, when you give like every star is wishing on you, and for the people still wishing on stars, this is for you too. This is for the time you went through hell so someone else wouldn't have to. For the time you taught a 14-year-old girl she was powerful. For the time you taught a 14-year-old boy he was beautiful. For the radical anarchist asking a Republican to dance because what's the chance of everyone moving from right to left if the only moves they see are NBC and CBS? This is for no becoming yes, for scars becoming breath, for saying I love you to the people who will never say it to us, for scraping away the rust and remembering how to shine, for the dime you gave away when you didn't have a penny, for the many beautiful things we do, for every song we've ever sung. This is for refusing to believe in miracles because miracles are the impossible becoming true and everything is possible. This is for the possibility that guides us and for the possibility still waiting to sing and spread their wings inside us, because tonight Saturn is on his knees proposing with all of his 10,000 rings that whatever song we've been singing, we sing even more. The world needs us right now more than it ever has before. So pull all of your strings, play every chord. If you're writing letters to prisoners, start tearing down the bars. If you're handing out flashlights in the dark, start handing out stars. Never go a second, hushing the percussion of your heart. Play loud, play like you know the clouds have left too many people cold and broken, and you're their last chance for sun. Play like there's no hoping for brighter days will come. Play like the apocalypse is only 4, 3, 2. But you have a drum in your chest that could save us. You have a song like a breath that could raise us, like the sunrise into a dark sky that cries to be blue. Play like you know we won't survive if you don't, but we will if you do. Play like Saturn is on his knees, proposing with all of his 10,000 rings that we give every single breath. This is for saying yes. This is for saying yes. Amen. Amen. Thank you. I love that poem, if it's not clear. And what I think gets to me most every time I read it, every stanza, almost every line, is an example of people making choices and moves to embrace life. And the line that stands out to me the most is when they say, "This is for saying I love you to people who will never say it to us." I feel so moved by that. That is the most selfless act of courage and love that I can imagine. It is the true spirit of loving thy neighbor, and I cannot think of a better example in the spirit of saying yes, of embracing a life of purpose, of doing something that we believe is right and wonderful, when it would be much easier not to. When we know that there is no reward or payoff other than our belief that it should be done. See, I believe that the hardest part about living a mortal life is not the knowledge that it must one day end, but that we only have so much time to put love out into the world, as much love into the world as we possibly can. There's a line, "The only reason to live is to give yourself away," and I believe that. With every ounce of my being, I believe that. And so what I'd love for you to take away from today is this. Find something that motivates you to be you. Whether it's art or music, a poem, find something that makes you want to say yes to your most authentic life and embrace it. Embrace it with everything you have. Hang it up on the wall. Put it on your mirror. Put one of it in your car. Wrap your life in the authenticity of who you are. These situations that Andrea Gibson presents to us in that poem, they are a challenge to live our lives authentically and to embrace our true selves. When we live authentically, we commit to action and align those actions with our values. May we all find the strength and determination to live our lives authentically and with purpose. So, whatever song you've been singing, sing even more, because the world needs you now more than it ever has before. Amen. May you live in blessing.
Please now rise in body or spirit as we sing hymn number 1064, Blue Boat Home.
Friends, beloveds, if here you have found freedom, take it with you into the world. If here you have dreamed dreams, help one another that they might come true. And if here you have known love, give some back to a bruised and bruising world. Our chalice extinguishing today is by Martha Kirby Capo. Our time together is finished, but our work is not done. May our spirits be renewed and our resolve strengthened as we meet the challenges of the week to come. This chalice is extinguished until we ignite it again with the spark of our communion. Thank you. Go in blessing.
Amen.